couple of days ago, I uploaded my review for the Call for Backup Precon under the March of the Machine commander set. Honestly, I was surprised at how powerful that commander deck was. For me to literally sit there and say that it was one of the best +1/+1 counter Precons ever made, I think means a lot. Because of that video, I sit here today and I'm looking forward to doing my review today for the Cavalry Charge Precon under the same set. Always keep in mind these videos are designed for players that are brand new to Magic the Gathering. By the end of this video, you're going to learn whether this deck is worth purchasing. You're going to learn how the deck plays, whether it's easy to play, and the monetary value you're going to receive from purchasing this commander deck. Before we begin, a huge thank you to everyone that's subscribed to the channel. I genuinely appreciate you being subscribed. Thank you so much. Always remember that if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can subscribe. It's just a really quick and easy way to say thank you to me for making these videos. All right, so keep in mind, this is the first time I'm looking at this commander deck, so I'm reacting to this just on the fly, all right? So first thing we always take a look at here is the price point. This deck costs about $142, always remembering that the value of the deck is going to go down as the commander deck releases and the cards become more abundant. However, this price usually correlates to how powerful the commander deck is, and I think being over $140, I would tend to believe this deck is most likely going to be strong. So when we take a look at this, we have our commander over here who is Sidar, Jabari of Zhalfir. Eminence. Guys, when we talk about eminence is one of the most powerful abilities that a creature can have or a commander can have in Commander, because it basically allows the commander to always affect the game. It's just a static ability that's constantly going on. Right out of the gate, I can tell you that this deck is already strong because your commander has eminence. I wonder if the other precons have eminence as well. Sidar says, whenever you attack with one or more knights, if Sidar Jabari of Zhalfir is in the command zone or on the battlefield, draw a card and then discard a card. So when you attack with one or more knights, so you only are drawing once and then discarding once, which is, you know, there are cards you can use to double that ability so that you're drawing multiple cards and then discarding multiple cards. But drawing one, discarding one, I mean, it accrues over the game, you know? Technically, you're only supposed to draw one card every turn, but with Sidar in play, or just as your commander, you're technically drawing two cards every turn, which tends to work out pretty well. He also has flying and first strike. Whenever Sidar Jabari deals combat damage to a player, return target knight creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, guys, this is so good. I'll tell you right now, if you give Sidar double strike, that means when he'll deal damage twice. Every time he deals damage, you get a creature from your graveyard back to the battlefield. So I would be interested to see if double strike is a theme inside this commander deck, because I think that's totally the way that I would go if I was building this. We have a Foulmire Knight. A 1/1 Death Touch allows you to draw a card. You can get this creature back to the battlefield, which would be kind of annoying to get a 1/1 Death Toucher consistently onto the battlefield. Corpse Knight. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses one life. I mean, it's a knight, so it's a creature you can get back from the battlefield. I feel like this card would work really well if you have cards that have mass reanimation, where you cast a spell and you bring back 10 creatures from your graveyard back to the battlefield that are all knights, I would imagine, this deck, and then each person loses one life for each of those creatures. We have Knight of the White Orchid, enters the battlefield, that's going to get you a land. It's a staple, you're always going to want to play that. Order of Midnight, flying. Take this card out of the deck. Smitten Swordmaster. You gain X life, and each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of knights you control. Depending on the amount of knights you're playing here, this card could work pretty well. I mean, it is a 2-mana creature, 2/1 with lifelink. I would probably take this card out of the deck. Wintermoor Commander. Death Toucher, 2-mana creature. Its toughness is equal to the number of knights you control. Whenever Wintermoor Commander attacks attacks another target knight you control gains indestructible until the end of turn. It is a death touch creature, so when you're attacking, your opponents are incentivized not to attack it or to block it. So, but I would take this card out of the deck. That's kind of the theme so far. I don't like that I'm sitting here and saying I have to take this card out of the deck a lot. Whenever you cast the knight spell, when the worthy knight is in play, you create a 1/1 white human creature token. I mean, if you're going to go wide and you want a lot of creatures, I think this would be a decent card to have. We have the Acclaimed Contender. This is a lot of text. When the Contender enters the battlefield, if you control another knight, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a knight, aura, equipment, or legendary artifact from among them. Put it into your hand. I mean, to be able to get that from the graveyard back to the battlefield consistently over and over again, that's a nice little combo with your commander. Oh, Adeline. Oh, this is a good card, guys. Adeline, Cathar's powers equals to the number of creatures you control. Whenever you attack for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking. So what I'm noticing is there's a lot of ways to put creature tokens into play, or at least a couple cards that do that. Maybe that's a strategy that you want to lean into. You do have that Corpse Knight over here, so people are going to be losing life when creatures enter the battlefield. And I know that there are cards that say whenever a creature you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life for each creature you control that's attacking, and then you gain 1 life. So I think those cards inside this deck would work pretty well if you want to go wide. And just remember, like, attacking with a 1/1 triggers Sidar, so that's going to allow you to draw a card. So having a good amount of creatures on the board seems kind of relevant. Exsanguinator Cavalry. Menace lifelink. Whenever a knight you control deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature and create a blood token. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. Blood token is going to help you draw more cards, and more importantly, I think discard cards so that you can put creatures into play with your commander. A lot of these knights, man, are like 2 mana, 3 mana, so there's not a lot of value here to be had when we're talking about putting these knights from the graveyard back to the battlefield if they're just 1 mana or 2 mana creatures. What I think is that you want to play creatures that create a board state and create value, and then just have them consistently on the battlefield to accrue value over time, as opposed to just having like one really big creature enter the battlefield and kind of change the board state, which is, you know, you're going to want to focus on gaining life in this deck, because I don't think that you're going to really be winning very quickly. I think this is a deck where you slowly drain everyone until you win the game. But the Cavalry is a cool card. We have Hakon, Stromgald, Scourge. You can play this. You can only play this from your graveyard. Okay, so you're definitely discarding this. Whenever he's put into the graveyard from play, you lose 2 life. Oh, when he's in play, you can play night cards from your graveyard. Seems cool. Liliana's Standard Bearer. Flash enters the battlefield, draw X cards, where X is the number of creatures you control that died this turn. Cool. You know, you probably want to get this back into your hand, not necessarily back onto the battlefield. Well, depending on what happens. Midnight Reaper. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you draw a card. Keep. Murderous Rider, keep, restore target creature or planeswalker. This would not go into your graveyard, unfortunately. So it's kind of a non-bow, but it's still a good card. Xerix Strobe Knight. You can tap this to create a 2/2 white and blue knight creature token with vigilance. So yeah, here we go with the tokens again. I really, if I was buying this, which I most likely am going to buy this, you want to lean into things that are going to be creating tokens. Ariel, Knight of Windgrace. Once again, vigilance, right? You can pay 3 mana to tap it to create a white knight token. You can also pay a black to destroy a creature, which is cool. Good card. I just like the art on that card. Dude, he's riding a looks like a panther. Herald of Hoofbeats. Other knights you control have horsemanship, which basically means your creatures can't be blocked when they attack, essentially. This is a really good card. Like, fantastic card inside this deck, actually. Hero of Bladehold. This is a rare card. Battle Cry. Whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature you control gets +1/+0, right? We have a ton of creatures attacking, so that's pretty relevant. Whenever this attacks, you put 2 1/1 soldiers onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Yeah, this is exactly what this deck wants to do. Great card. Josu Vest, Lich Knight. Enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, create 8 2/2 black zombie night creature tokens with menace. Guys, this is a card that you only play Josu Vest like after a board wipe. I'm telling you right now, like wait till somebody destroys all their creatures on the board. Wait till you're like right at the end of the game and it's like 1v1. This is a card that you play in a 1v1 situation and you just end the game. Like your opponent will scoop. This card ends games. I've lost games to this card, but it has to be at the end of the game. This is a game ender. You hold this card. Valiant Knight. Other knights you control get +1/+1. Here we go with the double strike. That's what I was saying. 5 mana, knights you control gain double strike until the end of turn. First of all, the art on this card is really cool. You know, that double strike that I talked about in the beginning of the video, it's going to be relevant inside this commander deck because you're getting to reanimate multiple creatures with your commander. Voldalian Wave Knight. Whenever you draw a card, put a counter on each other merfolk and or knight you control. Cool, yeah. Put counters on your creatures. You're also, in thinking about that, there's a card called Cathar's Crusade. You're going to want that card inside this deck if it's not already included inside this Precon. Arvad the Cursed. Other legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. I mean, I would take this card out of the deck. For 5 mana, you don't have, there's not so many legendary creatures inside here where you're really taking advantage of that. I would cut this. Aethersworn Agitator. You can destroy a creature with this card, and you can pay 3 mana to untap it to destroy something else. You play this. This is a creature right here that's value. Like, I would like to discard this, reanimate this, cheat the mana, and then just destroy things, and then somebody wipes the board, and then I could attack with my commander and get it back and just continue to destroy things. This card exemplifies what you want to do with this commander deck. It's just good value over time and just consistently have these cards in play. This is a control deck, guys. We have Knights of the Black Rose. When Knights of the Black Rose enter the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Cool. Whenever an opponent becomes the Monarch, if you were the Monarch, as the turn began, that player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I mean, for 5 mana, if you have this, and if you have the Monarch, you're going to be drawing 3 cards every single turn, and you're going to have so many creatures attacking that I don't know if your opponents are going to have enough blockers to block all the creatures that you have attacking. But yeah, this is like you could take this out. You could, for something that gives double strike or something. Locthwain Lancer Menace. Whenever a non-token knight you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you draw a card. Oh, that's probably the best card I've seen so far. This is a great card. Sir Eleonora the Discerning. Power is equal to the number of cards in your hand. When this enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and it has Ward 2, essentially. I would take this out. Sir Conrad is just the best card always when it's on the battlefield. Guys, Sir Conrad, like if you have this if you're running the color of black in a commander deck, just put Sir Conrad in your deck, dude. Sir Conrad, the game morphs around Sir Conrad, guys. Whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your battlefield, Sir Conrad deals 1 damage to each opponent. Sir Conrad just changes the entire flow of the game. Like, remember, we want creatures that are going to give us value over an extended period of time, so that we can drain our opponent slowly and then win the game that way. And Sir Conrad is absolute perfection for that. We have Vona. Oh, holla. Vona Butcher Magan. Nice. Pay 7 life, tap to destroy target on land permanent. Guys, yeah, Wizards. Thank you. This is a good commander deck, guys. God, this deck's gonna be annoying. That's a good thing. You tap this, pay 7 life. You're going to be gaining so much life anyway. Why does it matter? Destroy target non-land permanent. Alenda and Azor. Flying Ward 2. Whenever Alenda and Azor attacks, you may pay that much mana. If you do, draw X cards. And then at the beginning of each end step, you may pay 4 life. If you do, create a number of 1/1 black vampire knight creature tokens with lifelink equal to the number of cards you've drawn this turn. Yeah, I mean, that's automatically going to be 2. Right, if you're attacking, and they do have lifelink, so you're gonna gain that life back if you pay the 4 life, and you're just adding fantastic card, guys. This deck is so good already. Silverwing Squadron. This also attacks. You create a number of 2/2 white knights. I know that for a fact. 6 mana. You know, you're gonna want to discard this and then probably get this back with your commander. So you don't have to pay 6 mana to get it onto the battlefield. I would include ways to give your creatures haste so you can attack right away. I think that's going to be necessary inside this deck. Something to think about. Or maybe even playing extra turns, so that instead of it just gives you an extra combat step so you can continue to create more tokens. I think extra turns inside this deck would be awesome. Basically extra combat spells. Knight of the Last Breath, 7 mana. 3 mana, sacrifice another non-token creature, create a 1/1 afterlife 3, so when this dies you create 3 tokens. Yeah, just gonna put things into play. I mean, at 7 mana, you're definitely gonna want to get this onto the battlefield for free with your commander. And I would have liked for this to pay 3 mana to sacrifice a creature to destroy a creature, as opposed to doing that. So we have, we're not gonna go over those cards. We have a Path to Exile, just it automatically includes a Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares. Guys, buy this deck, guys. This is good. This is strong. D-Spark. Guys, exile, exile, exile. What? Pull from Tomorrow. We have Painful Truths, which is going to draw you cards. Pull from Tomorrow. Instant speed, draw cards. And it discards you a card, which is relevant inside this deck. Read the Bones is going to draw Unbreakable Formation. Should have been in the commander deck I reviewed the other day, but this is still a really good card inside this deck to give your creatures indestructible. Distant Melody, which is relevant inside a completely knight-based commander deck. It's going to draw cards for each knight in play. Return to Dust is one of my favorite cards, guys. You pay 4 mana, you exile 2 things. Guys, look at this. Exile target artifact or enchantment. We have over here, exile, exile, exile. Guys, when you exile things, exiling things hits differently, guys. Exiling things, it feels personal. We have Fell the Mighty. Yeah. You could probably take this out and put it in a better board wipe. Path of the Enigma. Target player draws 4 cards, starting with you. Each player votes for Planeswalk or Chaos. Planeswalk gets more votes. If Chaos gets more votes or is tied, Chaos ensues. And I'm assuming this has to do with these Plane Chase cards over here that we're not talking about. Soul Ring, of course. Arcane Signet, of course. Conjurer's Mantle. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has Vigilance. Okay. Whenever equipped creature attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a card that shares a creature type with that creature from among them. Put it into your hand. Whoa. I mean, guys, this is 3 mana. 2 mana to get onto the battlefield, 1 mana to equip. Guys, this is a staple. This might be the best card in the entire deck. This is a really good card. Yeah, I really like this card. This can go into anything. This could go into Edgar Markov. Fantastic card. Felwar Stone, great. Factory Power Stone, cool. Mind Stone. Look at this. Look at this. 1 mana mana rock. 2 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 mana mana rock. 3 mana. Herald's Horn, Oil. Maul of the Skyclaves. Pretty decent equipment. When it enters the battlefield, it automatically attaches, gives a creature flying and first strike, which is nice. This is an equipment that creates tokens. We're talking about creating all the tokens, right? Ichor Elixir. I'm pretty sure this is going to be in every one of the commander decks here. Vanquisher's Banner. Fantastic card inside this deck. It's just going to have you draw cards as you cast your knights. What is this? Chivalric Alliance. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card. Pay 2 mana, discard a card, create a 2/2. Oh, guys, this deck right now. If you're watching this video, give this a round of applause, guys. This deck is awesome, guys. This deck is really good. Whenever a knight, this is what I was talking about earlier, actually. Creature you control attacks. Each opponent loses 1 life for each creature you control that's attacking, and then you gain 1 life. Whenever a knight you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. That's what I was saying. You want more cards that just cause people to lose life as you're attacking, because you have to attack. And even if you lose the creatures, who cares? Like, people are losing life. And then we have the lands that we don't really go over because they're lands. Wow. What a commander deck, guys. I mean, there's nothing, I will say this, like there are probably other knights out there that work better, but for what this is as a precon, your commander has eminence, guys. So like, it's automatically just very powerful. So what I would suggest for people that are thinking about getting this commander deck, buy it. It's fantastic if you're a beginner player. This is a great way to get into the game. I mean, knights are cards. I don't think the knights are too expensive generally, because it's kind of like a fringe way to play the game, honestly. So upgrading this deck would probably be pretty cheap as well. And because of the commander having eminence, you know it's going to be strong. Guys, the mana rocks inside here are so cheap. Like 1 mana. They really push the power on this deck, guys. 1 mana, 2 mana, 2 mana. You have some pretty decent cards. Like the new cards that are inside here, Chivalric Alliance is really strong. Guys, Vona, Butcher of Magan is inside this commander deck. Sir Conrad. I would just say when you're upgrading this, try to find cards that are going to give you value over time. Like when I look at like this Smitten Swordmaster, like take this card out of the deck. It's a 2/1 with lifelink. Yeah, his ability, the other thing could probably win you a game. Flying 2/2 that can't block. Take this card out of the deck. And I'm telling you, you got something that's powerful. Guys, if I had to give this a rating, I'm gonna give this right now a solid 8 out of 10 across the new players and for the players that are experienced in Magic the Gathering. I can sit here and say you don't even really need to upgrade this deck. Like this thing is just gonna play, like it's just gonna play really well. However, if you do upgrade this, it's obviously gonna be a lot stronger. And for the players who have a lot of, experience playing Magic, you already know how to upgrade this. I don't really need to sit here and say anything about what you would want to do with this. Just go ahead and have fun. Another fantastic commander deck here, guys. A round of applause for Wizards of the Coast, man. I'm telling you guys, this commander deck is fantastic. I can't wait to play as and against this commander deck, I think it's going to be super fun. Now, what I will say is that the commander deck that we're going to be going over next is the Growing Threat commander deck. So if you want to see the review for that commander deck, you can subscribe to the channel. That way you are aware. You can hit the bell icon as well. We do go live on the channel sometimes. I'm normally building commander decks. You can be a part of that because one of the commander decks that I built on stream a couple months ago was this Chulane commander deck, and I've been retooling it ever since. Just so you're aware, I'm going to be auctioning off this entire commander deck on eBay. eBay has a feature where I can automatically assign the amount that the auction sells for and automatically donate money to a charity. And I'm going to be donating 75% of what this commander deck auctions for to Petco Love so that we can feed dogs and we can feed cats so that they stay healthy enough so that they can find a home to live, which would be really amazing for those animals. I will tell you that I'm going to hold on to 25% of whatever this commander deck auctions off for so that I can pay for shipping to ship it to you just in case you are international. And I'm going to use the rest of that money to get more cards to continue donating commander decks essentially like this. So if you would like to have the opportunity to auction and win the auction for this commander deck, you can. The Discord information is below, and you can just join the Discord and all the information in regards to the auction and anything else in the channel. And if you want to talk to me, you have access to me over there inside the Discord. Okay, so I hope you have an amazing day. Listen, if you buy this commander deck, I hope you have a ton of fun. This commander deck is going to be a lot of fun. I know, guys, I'm honestly going to probably go on Amazon right now, order all 5 of the commander decks, because if this keeps up this pace, I already know the next review is going to be really good, because it just seems like all these decks are very powerful and worth the money, definitely. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Always remember, eat healthy. Okay, work out every single day. All right, most importantly, you got to remember to believe in yourself, guys.